Okay, so it's Friday afternoon, and I kind of figured that I was going to sit down and have a little bit of a video chat on Saturday, but I've actually got a personal project on, so might as well do that now. Video looks a little bit different because I've been shooting a bunch of videos for the business, and I figured might as well use the opportunity with the same sort of setup, minus the sort of lights that I normally have behind, and just have a bit of a chat. I think with this video it's maybe going to be a bit longer. I might not edit it, I might just chuck it up as is. Might chuck it up as is just because I can't be bothered to edit, and time is one of those things. So I want to talk about three main things in this video. They're not linked, and it's going to seem a bit rambly, but we'll just crack in and see what happens. The first thing to note outside of those 3 points is this is such an easier video to edit, such an easier video to shoot when I'm not like thinking about what I need to say. Rambling is easier. If I did it with a beer, it'd be even easier. Anyway, first thing that's kind of come across in my brain is Facebook and Facebook marketing. There's two things I've been thinking about this week. The first one is the change of ratios, or we're making a change of ratios, it would appear. Normally when we render videos out, we render in a widescreen 16:9 format. We render, more recently we've been rendering like a square format for people, and that's good for Facebook and Instagram. But I don't know if it's the right thing to do, and so I've been looking at a 4:5 format, which is a bit more of a vertical, but not so vertical that it's a 9:16. And if you do not know your ratios, then that is a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo. But basically the 16:9 is like where it completely, don't bash the mic, where it completely fills up the phone, and a 4:5 is a bit more, like a bit less of that screen, but not to the point that it's at a square. So yeah, the 4.5 apparently, with regards to performance, does better on Facebook. So I'm kind of thinking that maybe we need to make the switch, but all of this is causing some knock-on effects, which is that it takes time to render stuff, and when we're doing, you know, it's a knock-on not just for render, it's a knock-on for editing as well, because when you make the video square, whether you make it 4:5, whether you make it 9:16, whatever you're doing, a lot of the time you have to re-edit the video. You have to obviously make sure that the clips pump up or shrink down to the right. Usually it's a pump up to the right size, but there's also reframing, and then on top of that, if you've stabilized your clips, and for us we shoot in 4K, we edit in a 1080 timeline, which means we need to nest clips, so we then have to, for these other timelines, have to unnest them and then re-edit. Is that a weird noise? No, don't know, can't tell. Headphones and all that stuff. So yeah, just that re-editing process and then the rendering as well just adds a bit of more time on, and I guess I'm conscious that we work very hard to try and give our clients as much collateral, as much content as possible, but when we have to re-edit, that is annoying. It's a waste of time in a way. It's a waste of time unless we charge for it, but I don't want to charge to be like, oh well, if you pay us an extra $, then you can have this content, this like style of format of video, and if you pay a little bit more, because all those add-ons, like, we're not Starbucks, and that's just going to be problematic to work out invoices, and clients are just going to be like, what the fuck are you doing? So at the moment, I don't really quite know what the answer is there. I think ultimately we need to include it, or I want to include it, because I think that's good for people to use. But have I just not been recording for this entire time? I have. Great mess up. Great. So if the audio quality was rubbish at the beginning and it's better now, then Well done. Welcome to my world of things going wrong. Where was I? So, yeah, I think ultimately we need to give our clients not an option to do that. What do I want to do? I want to give it to them, but I need to show them the value. The other thing that was crossing my mind with regards to Facebook at the moment is Facebook ads, or just pages and reach. And I've definitely noticed a drop in the amount that the page is organically reaching. So typically our process is to put posts out twice a week on Facebook, and we did have a bit of a decline, and I wonder whether because we've had a decline in posting, Facebook has therefore not prioritized us, blah 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 blah. But we also used to boost as well. We used to boost our ads, boost our content, not our ads. Well, they were ads, but anyway. So, yeah, there's a part of me that wonders whether Facebook is the right place to be. I definitely seem to be seen more on Instagram. And so I'm actually considering whether, we still put content out, but maybe Facebook is a priority and maybe Instagram is, which is annoying because for video, there is no way at the moment to schedule posts for it. The closest you get is you can schedule posts, but when you schedule, it's push notification. So a notification will come through to your phone and be like, you need to push the go button now, which the whole point of scheduling is that you don't have to think about it. You've pre-written, you're done, you're out, and you can, go for a meal, go to the gym, like whatever you want to do, and that stuff goes out. So Instagram probably needs more. Instagram for me needed more focus anyway this year, but maybe it's going to get even more, and maybe Facebook just isn't the place to be at the moment. Maybe Facebook has over prioritized its marketing business model of paid ads, basically, and has removed the fact that pages reach people, because unless they're getting engagement, they wanted to make Facebook more. The bigger driver behind this is the fact that, Zuckerberg has come out and said that he wants to make Facebook more about people. I'm definitely seeing a lot more content from forums or groups coming through. But as a business owner, it is annoying. The other place that has piqued my interest is LinkedIn, which, in all honesty, I used to think was the graveyard of CVs, and in a way still is. But I've definitely noticed, speaking to a few businesses, probably bigger businesses, and then talking about LinkedIn and the way that they sell stuff and connect with people on it, connect first and then ultimately sell, has had me thinking that maybe I shouldn't write that platform off as much as I do. I did delve into a little bit of it last year, but it was more of a sub-thought, a secondary thought, a bit like Instagram, in all honesty. So perhaps that needs a little bit more look into. I suspect that from a cost basis, it will be a lot cheaper than Facebook, which in itself is cheap anyway. So that's my kind of first section. Not bad for a continuous ramble. I wish recording my other videos was as easy as this sometimes. I wanted to ramble next into our second topic, which is a project update. And just more, I guess, an update about projects is probably more applicable. So, first of all, it looks like we're on the brink of winning what will become our biggest project financially, and that is pretty awesome. I think, in general, what I'm noticing about the company is that we seem to be doing well. That comes with a small asterisk at the top, which is recently I've also noticed that I'm making a few too many boo-boos. And I think that I've identified that the boo-boos are coming because I'm working too fast. Like, when you first start out as a shooter, I think, and I say, and the issues are in shooting, they're not in editing. The issues are in shooting, and I think what's happened is I've worked so hard to become quick on my feet because we're trying to capture so much content. Oh, good, the battery of that is running out as well. But we're trying to capture so much content, that, I think we've worked so hard to, or I've worked so hard to become a quick shooter because we need to get so much content out there, which means we need to capture so much. And that's one of the ways that I separate myself from other people. But what that's now leading to is mistakes, because I don't pay attention enough, particularly to gear. And it's leading to issues that I'm not happy with. Sometimes there are issues that, they just happen, and particularly, I guess I should explain what they are. At the moment, I seem to be noticing dirt on lens and stuff like that. Yeah, I guess I'm just moving too quickly, and I'm perhaps not taking the time to think, I'm in a dusty environment, I should move away from this and go change my lens. What I'm thinking is, I need to grab that shot, I need to get this, we're running out of time, and that is basically an internal, me pressure, and I just need to slow down. So that's the asterisks. In general terms, the business, I think, is progressing really nicely, and I'm really happy with where it's going. I am constantly looking at this thing in case it runs out of batteries. I hope I have some other batteries. If it does, we'll cut and come back. Whoa! So, what was I talking about? Yeah, we're doing really well. I think the work that we've done recently with Westrack, to work with a brand like that that's recognised. I don't have to explain to people who Westrack are. They know the logo, and they're a nationally and internationally known brand. So to work with them, is a high point at the moment for me. I've also had some smaller clients which just indicate we're going in the right direction. So, for example, I'm currently finishing a project with a smaller gym, health and fitness gym business, and we haven't even finished, and they've already referred me to someone else. And I think if you can get that sort of referral, that how good is that to be able to basically have that confidence that we haven't even finished the job yet, and yet they're referring us. I think that's great. As a final bit in this section, I was trying to generate some ideas for the How to Shoot video series, and it's always a bit of a struggle here, because I think if I can engage in a two-way conversation with someone, I can tell them exactly what they need to know because they've got a question. But if I have a blank slate and someone's like, just talk about this, it's quite difficult. I feed very much off people's emotions. So I contacted someone and said, hey, I noticed that you're more active in this group, and this was in the How to Shoot Facebook group, How to Shoot Video for your business group, which if you haven't subscribed and you are listening, please do that, but as these videos are mainly for me as a reflective point, there's not much point in saying that. Anyway, so yeah, I contacted her directly and said, hey, look, you've been active in this group, do you have any questions? And she gave me this whole list, and I'm like, sweet. And then at the bottom she wrote, oh, by the way, what's your availability to shoot, because blah 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 blah, she wanted to do some stuff. And I was like, isn't it it's stupid of me that I don't follow up with people. I don't like doing the salesy thing anyway, but for that, isn't it cool that I could just drop somebody a message and potentially, it may not happen, but potentially end up with some work. So what am I missing out on? Why am I so worried about contacting people and saying, hey, how are you going? Just dropping you a line and all that sort of stuff. And the answer is I don't do it because, yeah, as I say, I don't like being that salesy person. I hate salesy people. That is not me. And so I'm trying to stay, I guess, true to my brand, but perhaps the reclusive Englishman in me needs to step back and let the confident Australian kind of come through, as it were. So yeah, I think in my last video I was talking about being overworked and overstressed and all that sort of stuff, and generally we seem to be actually progressing in the right direction, which is pleasant, and that in itself is more of a comment on the up and down roller coaster that is freelancing life. Basically, we can talk about entrepreneurship and business owners and blah 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 and all that rubbish. But I think when you don't sit in the office 9 to 5 slog, then it is accountable. Like, it is totally going to happen that, you know, business will go up and business will come down and all that sort of stuff. So when business does start to drop off and you're like, you start to panic, and it's like, you should stop worrying about that, because things just keep churning. Like, we've had a few months of just sitting around sometimes but you sit around and you do start to question yourself, and I think I've talked about this on this channel before, but it's always an opportunity to go and improve something within the business. And there is a hell of a lot that I didn't do last year. See that other video I did about that? That can be taken up. Anyway, that's the end of topic 2. We should move into topic 3. Slurp. Not sponsored. The last one was about schedules for clients. I'll be surprised if this battery holds out. The last one was about schedules for clients, and it's more of a lesson that I'm learning. It is typical when you do a business project, any form of project, but specifically with video, I guess, to set deadlines. Shocker. Who would have thought deadlines on work? When I work with clients, I typically don't. I don't talk about deadlines, and I don't talk about deadlines because I was always worried that I would say something, overcommit, and then the way that I try and do things is always over deliver. So I would therefore have to deliver sooner. And generally we did that anyway, so people were always happy. As the workload has gone up, the practice hasn't changed. We're still really keen to deliver people's content ASAP. Like, in all honesty, from a business perspective, the sooner I can finish and invoice you, the better it is for me, because the money's with me and not with you. But for me, it's about obviously making sure that the client gets all their stuff finished, done, and in a timely manner. I think, again, that is something that separates us from other people, the fact that we don't sit on our bums and deliver it 4 months later. But that said, I have painted myself into a corner with it. And what's now happening is, because we are not clear about deadlines, we get questions of, where are the monies? I'd normally cut to a Simpsons meme here, but I'm not going to. Where are the monies? My wife is like, where are the money? They're like, where's the content? When will it be ready? And some of it's hard to tell on email. Sometimes it feels aggressive, but it's probably just a general inquiry. And then the panic in me starts to take over, and I worry that this person's like pissed off and they're going to come get me. So then I work and it stresses me out. So I've been thinking about this a little bit anyway, and how do I resolve this? And I'm thinking that I come around to a few different options. Not options, but like a few different ways to tackle this. So step 1 is that I need to be clear with people. I need to be upfront, and I need to be confident about that. It's no different to any of the other conversations that I'd have with someone, which I didn't used to have, but I now have. So, for example, what's a good example? We talk about probably the way that we work is probably a biggest one. I've had clients who are like, "Well, we'll do the job this way," and it's like, "No, we're going to do it my way, because guess what? It's the thing that I do as a job, so I should be better at this than you." And that reminds me, I'll try and come back to collaboration, but let me just write it here, and then I won't forget. Collaboration. Still spelt wrong. Never mind. So, scheduling. Where was I up to? So we need to be clearer. We need to say to people, this is what it's going to take. Because most people, they just want it ASAP. And as long as we don't take the mick with deadlines, I think we should be okay. The other thing that I've been working on and had some prompting from another person, thank you very much, other person, is that I've started work on a production schedule, is the best I can call it. But effectively it sets out when we think things are going to be done. And I tried to make the document as generic as possible because what I was worried about was another piece of paper to fill in. So basically it works on the premise of so say you finish a shoot and then it says when you're going to get your first revision. Instead of putting a date in, we say plus 2 days, 4 days, 17 weeks, years, months, whatever. And so it all works like that. And what I think the positive of that, hopefully is that hopefully clients start to understand that there is a reliance for us on them to actually pull their weight. So as an example, if you sit on your script, your shot plan, Mr. Client, Mrs. Client, gender neutral client, for 4 months, and then come back to me and say, hey, let's kick off shooting tomorrow. No, it's not going to happen. And it's down to me to be the gatekeeper. Because I have to be. Where was I heading with that? So yeah, hopefully this starts to illustrate the point that the client has a responsibility to be involved in as well, because they actually, a lot of the time, they hold us up, believe it or not. So circling back around to collaboration, and this will be my final point, trying to have a conversation with clients to get them to understand that it's a collaborative process and collaborative to make their project successful, I think is probably something I need to put more emphasis on. Like, I already talk about it, but I probably talk around it as a general concept. We don't actually start to illustrate. I already had my first conversation with a new or potential client. It's not a new client yet, but we're going to quote today actually, and did that as a kind of test run, and basically said to them, just trying to get them to understand that these projects are collaborative, and I think being collaborative is how you get a successful video project. It's always a fine line with this stuff, because we've definitely had clients who are at both ends of the spectrum. We'll have some clients who are, we're going to tell you how to do your job, this needs to be done, blah blah blah, and all that, and you're like, hang on, this is what we do day in, day out, and maybe just chill. And you get clients at the other end of the spectrum who are very hands off and like, you do. And I think that we can work with either of those types of clients, and we have done. But ultimately, the more people I can bring into the center, where we're like, this is collaborative, like, your business better than anyone, but we know how to show your business from an external perspective, I think will result in a better project from people. I think that's pretty much it. Wow, this has actually been such a productive video. Like, I don't think I'm going to edit this at all. Yeah. Anyway, my renders in the background are continuing. That's a large project, just long for a client. Yeah. So if you are a random person who's watching this video, thank you for watching. Hopefully it's a bit longer, but maybe of use, of interest. I've certainly talked about 3 different things that I think, are good lessons learnt. And yeah, if you've enjoyed it, let me know. If you're me watching it in the future and you've enjoyed it, don't bother letting me know, because I'm not going to get the comment to make sure that I do more like these, where I just sit down and talk. So anyway, also, how's this new setup? It's a new setup. We're testing something, predominantly for personal use, but as you can tell, it might become business use. Oh, should we do ASMR? Whatever it's called. That's some weird stuff. Right, anyway, I'm going to have another slurp, not sponsored, and I'm going to end the video there. As ever, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll record more of these. See you in the next one.